Hello, guys. It's Will Lissil here. I'm in Yorkshire, North region of England, and obviously you know that. But today I have something that's totally different from what the kind of artists we had interviews before, because I'm talking about a mix of music genre of jazz with rock. I never saw something like that, and I'm curious about that, about the way it's produced. And I'm gonna talk with a member of a trio, and it's Morgan, Husband, and Feraud, a trio from the USA. And James, let us know who you are and where you are right now.
Yeah, I'm James Morgan and located in sunny San Diego, California. And you mentioned that you're in Yorkshire. Actually, the one of the musicians, which is Gary Husband, is in the UK, and he was from Leeds. And then, of course, Adrian Feraud is from France. So we're kind of a
He's my
mixture of
he's my neighbor,
yes. So we're
almost.
so yeah, one of us is from the U.S. So it's with technology and stuff today, you can record from all over the world. So it's a little different. But yeah, I'm in San Diego in the USA, and I'm really happy to be on your segment today.
Great. So you are producing all this new EP remotely, is it right?
Yeah. So if you want, I can give you a little background about the concept of the album. Um, the My last four albums, just to give you a little background, were a contemporary jazz genre and what they call smooth jazz or contemporary jazz. And I put out four albums in 4 years: 2020, 21, 22, and 23, actually in 24. So, or 23. So those four albums, I produced the first three, and the last album, called Groove and Smooth, was produced by a legendary guitarist, Dean Brown. And Dean Brown, and you can look him up on Wikipedia. He was very popular in the '80s, playing with Billy Cobham and Roberta Flack and a lot of top musicians on over 200 albums. So I brought him in to produce that last album, Groove and Smooth. And all four of my albums were nominated for Best Jazz Album of the Year. So I had some credibility with him. And of course, he's legendary. So after we finished recording the album in 2023, in March of 2023, about 3 months later, he had asked me about some songs that he had heard me playing in the studio while we were recording here in San Diego, the last album. And I told him they were some jazz rock fusion albums, and which is a different genre than the contemporary jazz. And he was, he was aware that I was into jazz rock fusion from the '70s. There was a period between 1970 and '79 where there was a lot of Return to Forever, Chick Corea, John McLaughlin Mahavishnu Orchestra, Larry Corral, 11th House, those pinnacle albums that came out. So he thought the song sounded beautiful and decided to ask me if I'd like to record a solo album. And I said yes, of course, to work with him again. And I would play a solid body guitar, which is different from my jazz guitar. And he recommended two musicians that he had played with Billy Cobham and other people. Gary Husband, who's from the UK, also plays keyboards and has a bunch of albums out himself, and then Adrian Feraud. So basically the process was, and you can interrupt me at any time if you have any questions.
It's okay. I'm just delighted to listen to all this about the music production because I love it. Keep
Great.
going. Keep going.
So, what happened was I submitted about 15 songs to Dean, and he chose 5 of them because of budget constraints to do everything. Once we got Gary and Adrian, knowing what it was going to cost to have them on the album, and him to produce it, the mixing, mastering, studio time, everything. So we chose 5 songs. And then what he does is he creates what's called a mock-up. He is at his home studio. He'll create digital drums, keyboards, bass, and create the song as a mock-up, like a script that you would give to an actor. That way we can send those mock-ups to Gary and Hadrian, and they can listen to them and listen to what their parts would sound like. But they would be very basics, because musicians at that level, you want them to interpret the music the way they would and tell their story. So we created 5 mock-ups and with charts, and he charts the songs and sent those to Gary and Hadrian. Now Gary reads music, so he got charts. I don't read music, and Hadrian doesn't. I'm self-taught. I play by ear. It was less work for Dean. So what they do is they take their parts, the mock-up, and they take it to the studio after they listen to it and study it. They go to the studio, and Gary went and recorded the drums first to the mock-up. And he recorded all the drums you hear on the album in one day, in 7 hours, which is amazing if you listen to it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. And then he sends those back to me, those recordings in the US. He recorded that in the UK. So I take that and edit it, and then send that edited version to the bass player. So the bass player plays with the drums, and then he's on the road touring all the time. He's playing with Keiko Matsui and Frank Gambale, great guitar player, and a lot of musicians all over the world, Mike Stern. So he records on his laptop in his hotel room as he's touring, which is amazing, the technology. So
Today we can do it. Today we can do it. We don't need a studio properly, but we can do that.
yes. And as you can tell, the quality of the album, it's like you're playing in the same room. So
High quality, guys, high quality. I just loved it.
yeah. So he sent those back to me. We mixed those, and then I send them back to Gary, and Gary does his keyboards. And I had wanted acoustic piano on a couple songs, synthesizer on a couple, and then a mix of electric piano and synthesizer. And then he records that, sends it back to me. I mix it, and then I do my solo tracks. So on the mock-up, I do all my rhythm guitar, and I leave those. And the reason I leave them and don't redo them, even if they're not perfect, is because they're playing to what I'm playing, and that magic of what they created from what I'm playing. If I try to do something over that, it's not going to sound organic. So I record mine, and then we mix it, and we sent it to Gary, because Dean Brown, who I started mentioned at the beginning, he put together the mock-up charts, and then he was stricken with cancer towards the end, October of 2023, and he ended up passing away at 68 years old in the end of January of 2024. And Dean had me promise him that I would finish the album in the end of 2023, when cancer was starting to take over. And I promised him that we would finish the album, and Gary is very good friends with him, and Hadrian as well. So we came together, and the album became more than just my solo album. It became a tribute to Dean, and we wanted to make the best album we could to honor him in his passing, so that he would be proud of it, you know? So
That's amazing. That's amazing, because it's gonna be in our memories forever.
right.
The music.
And I named the album A Soul in Time before he even had cancer. So it's kind of prophetic that Dean, who was a soul in time, as we all are,
Really? Wow.
ended up
That's
being,
impressive.
yeah. So the album's it means a lot to us. We put our hearts into it, and and because we wanted it again to make a tribute to Dean. And then the title song, which is Soul in Time, I was able to get another good friend of his, Eric Marienthal, who played for about 30 years with Chick Corea, Return to Forever, the Chick Corea Electric Band. And he's very well-known saxophone player in the jazz world. So he played on the title song for the album. And then, yeah, so that's kind of how it all came together. And then what originally started out as a solo album became a tribute album to Dean. And it's doing really well because the music's really good. It's getting a lot of play. You know, some songs on YouTube are getting like, 14,000 views already in a month. So it's doing really well. But that was a process. We recorded remotely. It was mixed and mastered in the UK by George Murphy, who's one of the top engineers in London, England, and Andrew Tulloch, whose people fly from all over the world to work with him. So that's how it all came to be.
That's great. What we can do with the technology, and also how dynamic the trio is, and also what we can do with music distribution, because then you reach a very different audience than the place where you are, and you can just go like worldwide like that. So it's amazing when we see artists like you guys and giving us the chance to listen to your music, because this is really special, especially when it's so how can I say, uh, innovative. Like the innovation is amazing because you are mixing rock, uh, guitar riffs with jazz. When I
Yes.
was listening, it was like sugar. Wow, amazing. And if you have a very good earphone or headphones, wow, it's
Yeah.
spectacular.
And I
Really,
recommend
really good.
and I recommend really listening to it on big speakers if you can. It's like the difference between watching a movie on your phone or a laptop as you go into a movie theater. You get the full experience. And the music, I've had people tell me it feels like it just washes over you. You know?
Wow, that's interesting too. I'm gonna try that. So it's not only music, there is an experience behind it all.
Yes, and if you go to Ghost Jazz Trio YouTube channel, it's under the Ghost Jazz Trio. Uh, I actually put some of the songs to videos that I created that I felt would reflect the music. So if you're on a big screen in a dark room and you have the song On the Edge playing and you're going through outer space and the stars are shooting by you and the suns and the planets and all that, it really enhances the music. You feel like you're watching a movie with a movie theme. So yeah, and jazz rock, jazz fusion was had a period in the 70s, but it kind of got lost because in the 80s and 90s, with digital drums came into being in the 80s. So everything was very rigid and tight. So people weren't taking risks like they were in the 70s. So I wanted this album to be, and Dean wanted this album to be something that was, um, very evoke imagery, and again combine the heavy rock guitar with no effects, raw, to kind of a jazz feel, but with also some intense rock feel too.
Okay, that's good, and also very curious. I don't know if you can see that on screen. Your YouTube channel is there right now.
Yes,
So is this kind of video you were talking about?
yes,
Okay, I think we could watch this video just to understand what kind of production is this. All right,
sure,
and it's gonna give our audience so an invitation to come to your YouTube channel, Ghost Jazz Trio, right?
yes.
Right. Let's go then. Wow. Wow. That was amazing, amazing, amazing. And I'm very curious. So you are also a producer, a media producer, not only music producer.
Yeah, I guitars first. Yeah, I produce my albums, music, but also I put together, as you can see, videos for my music online. As you know, in the age of social media, a lot of things are shorter. You have YouTube Shorts, you have TikTok, and things like that. And really, it's important to um, create something that will keep the viewer engaged longer. If you just post a picture or some photographs of something online and play your music, they'll listen to the music, but they may, um, get bored, short attention span. So Yeah, I think it's important if we can, like you saw the video, it's like, oh, I want to see what's going to happen next. And it matches the music. You feel like you're in a Star Trek movie going through space and the music kind of takes you there. And so, yeah, I produce and I also do a lot of content online. And I also do videos, opinions or observation videos. Like I'll say, what happened to pioneer guitar players? And I'll have a thumbnail with a big title, and then I'll talk about it. People will put comments and after it's posted. So yeah, I'm very engaged with the whole online
That's
um,
good.
production.
You have to teach me because you are better than me on this thing. But I was my experience because I have a huge monitor in front of me, and I was like traveling through space and the difference tempo between transitions from those images was amazing. Some are faster, some are slower. And I was just like, I forgot the interview. I forgot you. I forgot everything. I was just going through that experience, and that sound of guitar riffs mixed with the jazz drums, etc. Oh my god, that's amazing. I just needed a glass of wine, forget about you, and keep going. Oh, I should have a very dark room as well because I can believe that's really good. I'm
Yeah,
gonna give you. I can just see that you like technology. I'm gonna give you an idea. You could produce maybe use this content you have already for um, VR content. So people can wear those glasses and it's so complete, looks like you are inside the video.
uh,
And with this amazing sound, must be a very good experience. Could even be used as a therapy to relieve stress, etc.
yeah,
Because I was imagining the effect it's giving me, and that's
uh,
the effect. Besides, we have some parts of the song, the drums it makes an euphoric energy comes up, but
yeah,
it goes back to the down tempo and everything's calm again, and we can see supernovas, the superclusters, galaxies, everything. And
mhm,
also we are connected to all those things through energy. We are made of energy.
right,
Do you agree with it?
yeah. And everything's a frequency, and music is a frequency. And since the music comes from me, out of nowhere, it's basically intangible. It's you can't see it. It's invisible. And artists, musicians, some are able to bring those notes in music and things that are out there, that the intangible, and make it tangible for people's ears and for people to hear. And then if you apply visual um, visualization, like you saw that, you can create a whole experience, and that's what I try to do. That video was actually the second video I ever made, and I did it like a week ago. And the other one, there's a song called "A Feather's Touch," and it's a very almost like a symphony, like a big movie where you would see great expanse. So I did more nature, big valleys and huge waterfalls and that kind of thing. So it takes you on an adventure, And then when the piano player comes in, he has kind of a dark, introspective acoustic piano solo. I have drips coming down a window as if you're in your house in a dark room watching the rain outside, just by yourself. So it's really fun to do. I wish I had more songs I could do it with.
Oh, you will, I'm sure, because your portfolio on Spotify it's growing, and you have a lot of social networks to connect that audience to your portfolio on Spotify and all streaming services. So you will have more job to do with those videos. Don't worry about it,
Yeah.
because one thing I just found out when I was watching is that we question uh, how that kind of music is being done, and actually you give that information Like when a drum is giving a solo, when the guitar and the name of the player as well. I
Yeah.
was this guy is a genius because he was thinking about everything. That's incredible, man. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I did the name thing just to kind of like bring or make you feel connected to the musician more. Like it's not just a body of work, but oh, here's somebody expressing themselves at that moment. They're telling their story because really, I find especially today with again with the technology, Instagram and TikTok and things like that, people post on YouTube very short videos, and most of the videos, they've sat there for an hour doing some guitar riffs, and they're amazing players, and they put it on there, and you watch it, and it gets a lot of views, but you don't associate them with any songs or albums or bands. You just say, oh, that guy who plays guitar like Alan Holdsworth is a guitar player. A lot of really good guitar players that have good technique copy, and they kind of clone them. So for me, on this album, I wanted to do something that was raw and fresh. And if I hit a string that wasn't perfect, it doesn't matter because we're artists, and that's just part of you going for it. And if you hear a drummer or a keyboardist or guitar at that time, like the guitar solo I did on that song was the first take. I did 3 takes, and that one was the best. And I just close my eyes and I play like I'm in the room with them and go for it. Because if you pour your heart out into it like that, and you're not thinking about technique and trying to make it perfect and the tone, it's people are going to feel it more, and
And
that's
I can make a comment because I work with all kind of artists, all kind of producers, and this is what makes the difference between AI music and uh, organic music. You are doing organic music. It works as a reference for everyone. That's the best way to do music because then you can express exactly the energy you are feeling at the moment. What is not organic? Okay, there is EDM, for example, is everything is electronic, but this kind of music, when it's more organic, you have a bigger connection with the audience. That's my opinion,
yeah.
and we
And
can connect with the audience with electronic music, okay. But if you are in a live performance, for example, and we watch you guys, the trio, playing that kind of production live, the experience must be amazing, perfect.
well, I
And
do get a lot of comments like, if are we ever playing live and this and that, but you have to keep in mind the drummer also plays the keyboards, so we would have to get a drummer, probably Dennis Chambers
we
or
do a
something like
clone. We
that.
are gonna go. We can use the technology. We clone him.
but but also to your point about the AI, if you're listening to AI music, you're not listening to organic music. It drums up emotions and things because you can relate to the story because it's coming from somebody who's telling a story from their emotions. But if you're just listening to either AI, it's unfeeling. It's not coming from any emotion. So I think it would produce more listeners that have less um, of an ear for feeling. It's almost like they would deaden their whole, emotional feeling about music and make it more. They almost become more digital in that sense. So
Um, yeah, unfortunately, James, I can say that we are already experiencing this when producers started not producing with the artists, but like selling beats, selling any kind of track, pre-produced track that a person that doesn't know him could buy in the other side of the world and put his voice there, and
yeah,
that's it. It's like making music in the microwave. In five
yeah,
minutes it's ready. And I'm not criticizing because I did
no,
music. I was
an
producing music this way
observation.
too. Some kind of artists work with specifically with this kind of production, especially in partnership with DJs from other countries, etc. It's good too, But if we are talking about feeling and emotional connection with the audience, then we are talking about almost live music and or recording together in the same project, being part of that, even if remotely, but being part of that, talking and discussing what you are gonna do, even when, oh, that note is not, it could be better this way or not. And when you get something that's ready, you cannot change anything. You just sing and record your voice, and that's it. So I feel that we are having this kind of problem already, and it started about 10 years ago when the internet was becoming like very popular. It's
Mhm.
good to give opportunity to people that don't have a studio close to the
Yeah.
place where they are. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's a good opportunity.
There's always good and bad to everything, as you know.
Yeah,
So
we can try to normalize the optimization of what we have. And
yeah,
you are also using the internet, you are also using the technology and producing remotely, but you are bringing the optimization from there, and that's what I'm talking about. That's why your kind of music is a reference.
yeah. And then also too, on the album, referring to the album, keep in mind the drummer to do this kind of an album at this quality and this level of production remotely, the drummer he's the one who's laying out the feel of what he's hearing on the mock-up, the drums. He's setting the mood. And that comes from experience playing with musicians. So on my guitar solo, I wasn't soloing with him when he's playing the drums. So he's in his mind as he's playing, he knows he has 8 bars or 16 bars of a guitar solo. Towards maybe the ninth bar, eighth bar, he knows that the guitar player is probably going to start speeding up here. He's going to start building up. So he changes his drums. And then you can hear when I'm peaking at the end of the guitar solo, he's full on double kick going. And he did all that before I even played. So the level of musicianship has to be such that a drummer would be able, from all the experiences of playing for decades with musicians, to know kind of instinctively what to do. And then applying, everyone else builds around that feeling, those drums. So to have this caliber of musicians, you have to have, to put out a production like this. I mean, again, Gary Husband, who played with the top players in the world, he's currently touring with Billy Cobham. These guys are, top of the game. They're the top calls right now in the world as far as when they need a drummer, keyboardist, or bass player. Those are the guys that get called. And I was fortunate to be able to, through Dean, to be able to play with them. And it was a whole learning experience for me, because I'm playing with guys that inspired me, that I listened to for that kind of music. And then I got to a place where I was able to play with them. And you know, it was
It's
it
a
was
gift from God.
it was a surreal experience. I'm really I have so much gratitude that it even happened. If I never recorded another album or anything again, I would be happy, because I got to play the kind of music and with the players that I could, dream of playing with. So it was special for me.
Well, you are lucky to have them on your project, but they are lucky to have you too. Because, man, you are. Let's be honest here. You are very visionary, and I can say I'm 40, and I know that for us that have a little bit more experience than Gen Z, the Generation Z,
Yeah,
we was transitioning from analogic to pre-digital, like MP3, and downloading from internet through a software called LimeWire, and
mhm,
then trying to use music online, and it was so heavy. One MP3 file was so heavy and difficult to download, take like weeks to download that. And then suddenly we have all music worldwide inside our mobile phone. So this is almost shocking for a person to try to understand all these things. And now I can see you with all that experience totally adapted to the market today.
Well, you have to, and I'm 66, so you have
Wow.
to, yeah, and you have to. For me, it was like a lot of musicians my age or even younger, they don't know that, yeah, you spend a lot of money and time making an album, but really all the real work is on the backside. You have to get on
Promotion.
you have to get to curators and on Spotify. You have to get on. You have to create a footprint of it. You have to market it, and a lot of people aren't willing to put in the time, effort, or money into doing that. And I came out of obscurity 2017, and now I'm playing with the two best players in the world, playing on the music that I want to play. And it's not because I'm a great guitar player, musician, or composer. It's because I put all the right content, constantly putting all that out there and creating a brand and a feel and everything. So I would be ready for a moment like this. When an album came out, I knew what to do. So again, the technology is there to use. And I know a lot of people, especially older musicians, they're like, oh, it's art, I'm old school. Well, if you're old school, that's where you're going to stay. You're going to stay in old school.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you want to reach a broader market, like for instance, my last four albums before this one, I marketed with smoothjazz.com global radio, and they have a listenership of about 250 million people.
Wow.
And they do a banner on their website. They play your song. You can climb the charts, and a couple of my songs went to number one on the jazz charts. And it's how you get up the charts is how many spins you get. So if your music is sent out to, there's 92 recording stations in the world for jazz, smooth jazz. So those stations spin your albums, and however many spins you get that week, it could be 2,000 spins through 92 reporting stations. That puts you on the charts. So you every week for 4 years, every Tuesday, the charts come out on Monday. Every Tuesday, I'd send an email out to all the radio stations, say, could you please add me to your playlist spins this week? And if they did, I'd send out an email the next week thanking them. And those that didn't, I would send out another email. So by doing that, my songs climbed up the charts because I was always sending emails every week for 4 years. I never missed a week. So you have to do the work to really, because you have 60, back in 10 years ago, maybe 9,000 albums came out a month. Now
Yeah.
it's 68 to 80,000 albums. So to even get noticed or to get on the charts, I was in the top 100 in the world for 4 years running. So that's where you want to be, because it gives you credibility
Exactly.
to get shows, to get people to work with you. And again, it just takes a lot of work on the back end. And I encourage anyone watching this, it's great to play your music and do your music, but you really have to do your due diligence on the back end to make it happen. I'm talking with you today. It's all part of marketing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. 'Cause it goes to the digital TV too. That's a complete different audience from YouTube. And what I can see is that we have a bad side as well from this technology era, because we have only on Spotify. Next year, after we received, because I am the owner of a music distribution platform that's worldwide, that's pophits.co, and we help independent artists to distribute their music to more than 150 stores. And when we do that, we receive a lot of insights from inside the DSPs, the streaming services platforms. Only on Spotify, 64 millions of tracks wasn't listened for at least once. 64 million
Yeah.
tracks was never listened. And I was speechless when I was reading the report.
Yeah.
Not to mention the other platforms, So people need to get ready to be able to, if they are independent, manage their career, create music, but also do what everything that comes behind. That's
Well,
a music
you
promotion.
could, yeah, I mean, you can record at home. You have everybody has home studios now. You have influencers that have cameras and they do technology every day and, put stuff on there and then they get sponsored and stuff like that. But you also have to um, use the digital marketing too, because it's all there. A lot of it's free. And if you just take the time to do it, like your YouTube channel, that's really free. And it's one of the biggest platforms in the world. And if you can get to a certain amount of subscribers so that you can be an official channel and monetize it, then you start putting different kinds of videos up. I have Andy Andrews, who is out of the UK. He has a huge YouTube channel, about 30,000 subscribers. He did a review of the album and also an interview with us. And he makes a living. He used to be a professor at a school, and now he makes more money just staying home doing content on YouTube, and makes as much as he would as a professor, and he has more time with his family. So again, like you said, and then you have all these songs that aren't heard. Um, it's you have to do it. You have to get it out there yourself. No one's going to do it for you. You know.
Exactly. That's what I say every day. We are in the same vibe here because I
Yeah.
tell everyone I see a lot of young people depressed literally because they don't have followers enough on social networks. I
Mm-hmm.
saw cases of young people killing themselves
Mm-hmm.
for real
Yeah.
because they was giving up because they couldn't reach a good audience. And
Yeah.
can you imagine if you talk about numbers, could be a huge illusion because there is a lot of people that pay for to get like just numbers inflated, like fake followers, etc. So
Yeah.
if you do what you love, you do with excellence, you will reach the right audience. Obviously, there is the promotion thing
Yeah.
behind the music promotion. Uh, uh, Mainly articles because makes your music more discoverable for people outside the social networks when they are searching for a band, a jazz band from USA. They will find, for example, Morgan Husband and Feraud. So that's what I'm talking about, and it's just a jazz band. It's not looking for their names because they don't know him already, but they can watch this interview, they can read an article and go to Spotify.
Yeah.
Like I have your Spotify on screen right now.
Mm-hmm.
What the work you are doing is amazing because I see that you have audience from Brazil, from Japan, from Chile, it's a lot of places different than your country.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have to say congratulations for that. And we are
And
talking only about Spotify, but we have many different music platforms where
SoundCloud.
their music is there.
Yeah.
So, what's the main platforms you have more listeners?
Well, the pay for musicians now, again, when you put out songs, you get ISRC numbers, which are numbers like a barcode kind of thing. So anywhere it plays in the world, you get royalties from it. So you want to get on as many platforms as you can. So once you release your album, you've assigned a number to it, you've registered it with either BMI or ASCAP, and you have Sound Exchange, and there's SoundScan, which scans the world for that ISRC number, which records it, and then you make money off that. I remember I used to get $12 checks from my other albums, a month or whatever every quarter, and now I'm getting a few hundred, or you get more because it's playing more. So you want to get on as many platforms as you can. Spotify, Apple pays the best. they give you the most. So you want to get on all as many as you can. YouTube, if allow people to use it. Another avenue that I use is called movie syncing and licensing, and I have a couple companies I work with
or film
where,
industry.
yeah, so I download my songs onto their websites. They have, say, a commercial is putting out a Japanese company in Japan is putting out a new app, and they just want a 3 to 7 second little music riff before, and then another one at the end of the app when it closes. So they'll post it on their website and let me know about it, and then I'll go through my songs and I'll find 3 seconds to 7 seconds, and I'll say opening, closing, and they'll allow maybe 6 of those they'll ask for. So then you send those, you put those on the on your profile. That company will go and download and go through all the submissions, and if they like your little 3 second, 7 second, they feel it fits their app, they'll pay you anywhere from a few hundred to $100,000, or maybe,
Wow, that's amazing.
or they'll use your song in opening credits for a movie or closing credits when the credits are going, and all of
Yeah,
a sudden they'll play your song. They have bigger budgets, so you can make 20, 30, 40, $50,000 just from them using your music. So
great.
I also do that as well.
Yeah, the thinking is an area that is a little bit gray for most of independent artists. I have an article. I published an article about this on pophits.co, and I also give five or six examples, like companies that are working with this, with music supervision. So everyone interested on this topic just can go to our website, pophits.co. You can find at least five companies where you can send your music, and they will probably do the supervision and see if some companies want to use your tracks and also pay for that.
I'm
What's the
doing
most important?
I'm doing that today.
Great. Well, I could be here talking to you forever, but James, we have to finish this interview now.
Sure.
I have to say the album is amazing, but guys, it's five tracks, okay? We had an experience here with only one, and you can see on the screen the portfolio on Spotify is huge. You have only here you have like six tracks available for you to explore. Morgan, Husband, and Feraud. And also, you can go to all social networks. That's gonna be Instagram, Ghost Jazz Trio, YouTube, Ghost Jazz Trio. Facebook is different. So Morgan dot Fusion Fingers, and the website ghostjazztrioband.com, where you can find everything about the band, about the trio, and these amazing guys, the three of them producing amazing music, high quality, and also that can be like sugar to our ears. That's incredible. So, do you have, James, a message for those that will be discovering your music through this interview?
Yes. Go to Bandcamp and type in Morgan Husband Feraud, A Soul in Time at Bandcamp, and you can get the digital or physical copy of the CD.
Great.
All inter- yeah, and it's available on there. And if you get the album, you also get a free digital download of my last album with Dean Brown as a bonus. Uh, yeah,
Oh, it's like two for one?
yes.
Great. Guys, you just take note because this is very important. If you can have all those songs, and it's like a big deal. So, oh, you have the all right, you have the physical one.
Uh,
Nice.
yeah, so they get this album free if they buy this album on Bandcamp, either the CD or they can just get the digital download.
Great. Amazing. Amazing. So, is this information also available on your website? You have links to Bandcamp, etc.
Yes, and I'm sure you'll post some links, and also the record label that this came out on, Guitar One Records. You can go to their website, and they have links there, and interviews, uh, and music, and everything on there too. And also, you can look up any three of us on Wikipedia: James Morgan, guitarist, Hadrian Feraud, bass, and Gary Husband. So you can learn more about our who we are. So
Perfect, perfect. I just loved this interview, and I have to say thank you. It's an honor for us to have
thank
artists like you, and also the other two that they are not here, but their
yeah,
music is here with us.
yeah,
So it's an honor for us. And when you have any different project, come back to us. Let's have another interview, and we can talk about the new project. All right?
sounds good.
Great. So see you next time. And we are going to publish an article about your work. We are going to attach this interview at the article, and also some videos from your YouTube channel, for example, that one you were watching. And also, you are going to receive a notification from us when the article is published. All right?
Sounds great. Looking forward to it.
Great. So stay online now because we are going to finish. It's gonna be just a video of 10 seconds, and we talk again.
Okay.